how optimistic are you on the future of America? You talked about America earlier, where you said Americans have a tendency of believing that's going to be the greatest country in the world, and currency, no one can go up against the currency. It's the best currency in the world. How optimistic are you with America as a product, not crypto, not Bitcoin?
Yeah. So I believe that America and the American ideals have created and still is the greatest country in the world, right? And the belief in capitalism, free markets, and democracy, we are very spoiled here in this country compared to where most people live in the world. With that said, I always look at it as just because you were able to ascend to this position of privilege and power and kind of freedom does not mean that it is guaranteed in the future. And so in the United States, I think that what we are starting to get to a point of is we're the fat cat in the room, right? We're happy. This is America. We can do no wrong. We've got the greatest military in the world. We've got the global reserve currency. We are the kings of the world. Well, every dynasty and empire in history has fallen. And usually it is because they become the fat cat in the room. They stop pursuing innovation. They stop pursuing kind of independent thought and problem solving and critical thinking. And they simply start saying, we win because we are America, right? And I think it's a very dangerous place to be in. And so I think that the best place, frankly, that this is showing up is in something like Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, where when you look at an open, decentralized system, you can see the rhetoric that's being used in a lot of this. People are starting to say, oh, one of our adversaries may use this technology and that will be detrimental to the United States. Well, when you're the incumbent, you constantly look at regulation and you look at how can I rig the market to my advantage? How do I king make, right? When you're the startup, that's not what you think. You think, give me the tools and I'll compete in the free market. You enjoy the competition, right? You want to go fight the battle. And so I think that what we've got to do is we got to get back to that. Right? The Industrial Revolution and a lot of what made America America was about us saying, give us the technology and we're going to go compete in the free market and we're going to win. And so I think that what ends up happening is we've got a decision to make. We are the greatest country in the world. Do we want to continue to do that, or are we going to go into decline? And I think that what we have to do is we have to continue to pursue technological innovation, and we have to make sure that through incentives, whether that's tax, regulation, or otherwise, that we want the smartest people in the world living here, working here, building here, and employing people. And if we do that, we got a shot. No guarantee, but we got a shot. But I think there's a couple of other countries that are starting to catch on to the game, right? Singapore is one area. There's plenty of others that start saying, look, we're going to take the American playbook and we're going to use it against them. Yeah. So let's go compete.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And by the way, China right now, I don't know if you saw what came out story this week when they said China looks at US as their equal. They no longer look at their superior. This was said this Monday. We talked about on the podcast. And then you heard Peter Thiel, I think it was last week when he talked about the fact that, hey, China's using Bitcoin as a way to manipulate the US currency, the fiat currency. This is a national security. So what do you think about what Peter Thiel is saying? Because when you talk about the startup, hey, just 20 years ago, China was number 8. China was number 7, and they did that Olympics in 2008, I think it was, when we're like, what the hell would the way they would walk? How many times did these guys, it was the greatest opening show ever. Like, these guys are going to compete. They went from 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. In 2025, they're planning on being number 1. What do you think Peter Thiel is saying, the fact that they're going to use Bitcoin to manipulate the US currency to weaken it?
Yeah, so I think that the context of his comments are really important, right? So first is he was very clear that he's pro Bitcoin, he's pro crypto, he considers himself a Bitcoin maximalist, and believes that it will continue to accrue value as this like global store of value. The second thing is that right before he talked about Bitcoin, he actually said that at one point the euro was seen as a financial weapon by China against the United States. And it ended up not actually being able to kind of weaken the dollar enough or have the impact that they wanted it to have, right? So this is not a new concept or a new framework for people to kind of evaluate China's global aspirations compared to the US. And so the idea with Bitcoin is that if people start to adopt Bitcoin, then that will destabilize the global reserve currency, right? And Bitcoin will end up being kind of the global reserve currency. Now, what I always say is Bitcoin is an open network. It's an open decentralized network, very similar to the internet. And so when the internet came along, the United States had a very big hand in creating that and adopting it, and embracing it, using it to their advantage. But there are countries around the world that said, oh my God, other people are going to use this. And so we're not going to use it. We're going to cut our citizens off from the internet. North Korea is a great example. It didn't turn out so hot for North Korea and their citizens. And so when you have an open decentralized network, naturally people around the world are going to use it. Open systems beat closed systems. And so when you think of it from that standpoint, the United States has a choice. We can be adversarial and we can be kind of closed system minded, right? And we can say, hey, we're not going to use this thing because another country may try to adopt it or use it and use it to their benefit. Or we can simply say, you know what? There's a global game. We're going to go compete. We're going to embrace this. And we're going to make sure that if anyone benefits from Bitcoin in this open system, we benefit more than anybody else. And I think that's the winning strategy here. It's not to say, oh, let's ban our citizens from using this. Let's try to look at this as a threat. It's to say, hey, there's a weapon up for grab. Let's go use it and we'll be the winners. And because every other country is going to do that as well. So why don't you just go make sure you benefit more than everybody else from it?
So if you like this little short clip from an interview I did, click over here to watch the entire interview. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.